For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect? God forbid, yea. Let God be true, but every man a liar, as it is written.
So many millions, but only one earth. Each man's need is that of his neighbor, for all there is to share is the wealth of the world.
Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? Romans 11. I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God hath not cast away his people which he foreknew. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness?
According to the Bible, the fall of Israel gave opportunity for the spiritual and physical salvation of the Gentiles. Also, it states that the fall of Israel would become the riches of the entire world. We can't make everything in the Bible spiritual or a metaphor just because we don't see the fulfillment of these prophecies in history. Many things in the Bible are meant to be read exactly as it is written, literally. In this case, physically. (1948) Israel, Palestine, and the 1948 Jews don't seem to match any of these biblical prophecies. Maybe it is because that's not the biblical land and they are not the biblical Israelites. The Bible is an African book that took place in Africa. Both history and biblical prophecy testifies to it. For example, look into the history of Central Africa and the Bantu people, then read biblical prophecies. It is a perfect mirror.
But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles.
The Dark Ages in Europe lasted from 400 AD to 1400 AD, at which time Europeans lived in filthy conditions and practiced hellish self-inflicted violence, living in poverty as seen in these pictures. Very important. Remember this date. The Dark Ages ended in 1400 AD. In 1400 AD, the Europeans also began invading Central Africa, with the intentions to exploit the area. The partially weakened Central African region, being weakened by the Arab invasions 500 years prior, fully fell in 1400 AD. Very important. So Central Africa completely fell in 1400 AD. and in 1400 AD, the Gentiles were saved out of the medieval time period. And since then, they have been able to prosper, mainly, if not solely, by robbing sub-Saharan Africa, biblical Israel, for its human labor and natural resources, especially Eastern Congo, biblical Jerusalem, without which, modern life as you know it, would not exist. Like I said, it's a perfect mirror.
Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God hath not cast away his people which he foreknew. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy.